I'd like to welcome everybody here. My name is Ernie Conover. I'm from a small town in Ohio. I have always enjoyed turning. I've been turning since I was about 12 years old. People that want to turn are divided into a couple categories. And one is somebody who just wants to be able to turn a bit to make some legs or knobs or whatever for their furniture. And then there are a fair number of people that sort of take up turning and they do it kind of exclusively as their woodworking hobby, and they turn to the exclusion of any other type of woodworking. And a great many of those people turn bowls. And I would like to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about the dynamics of turning bowls and how it gets on the lathe and how it acts like it does. So in some ways we're going to talk a little bit first about wood technology. It is common these days to turn bowls from green wood.
I'm going to talk about what the point is of hand woodworking. This is a fireside chat. This is the sort of garbage that you get at the university level, not at the club woodworking level. So I thought I would try it with you, see how you. If you snore, try and get the guy next to you to poke you in the ribs or something. What I want to do is I'm going to take you through a story. I'm going to take you on a little journey about what it is that we're doing today as woodworkers, and where do you fit into this maelstrom. If you thought I was going to talk about why do we make dovetails, you're here under false pretenses. That comes out as part of the process. I had no idea what you could call this or what you could put up as a single title for the thing. So that was what I put on there. But I was asked to design and make a piece of Mackintosh-inspired furniture for a magazine. Charles Rennie Mackintosh, probably the singular most creative architect designer that ever lived. Any red-blooded American would jump up and say, no, Frank Lloyd Wright was. No question, this guy was way up there with Frank Lloyd Wright. There isn't one of you sitting here that hasn't seen his work, but you just didn't know it. He is now incredibly well known. The arts and crafts movement is what woodworkers today would aspire to, because they had three canons. The design had to be simple, the workmanship had to be just absolutely perfect and be seen to be perfect, and the materials that were chosen had to be rightful. This guy was alive at that period of time, and he was right there in the arts and crafts movement, but he didn't give a rat's about the arts and crafts movement. He was totally unconscious.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Good morning. My name is Frank Klausz, and I own and operate a small cabinet shop in Plaquemine, New Jersey, and some of you guys been there, know about it, but any of you who don't know, that's who I am. I make furniture for a living. And when I made the biscuit joinery videotape, some of my friends was a little bit upset about it, to say we let the whole world know how we make cabinets. I said they know it anyway. What's the big secret? You know, they were surprised. For me, who is sometimes called the dovetail king, and do a lot of hand work, made a video on biscuit joinery. But the truth is, we still make dovetails when we make a Queen Anne lowboy. We still make dovetails if we make a fine piece of furniture. But sad to say, majority of our furniture is biscuited together. If we make kitchen cabinets, if we make bookcases, if we make boxes, we're not really cabinet makers. We are boxologists. This seminar is about using chisels. When you go out there and everybody's selling tools for you, this sucker is $50, this is $20, this is... Which one is a good one? Which one is a good one? So they ask you these questions, and so sooner or later you're going to say, all right, let's stop for a minute, Get a couple of those chisels, a couple of an inexpensive Japanese, a very expensive Japanese. Get a Zorby, a Marple, a Stanley, Night Gedacht, a Kirsch, footprint, and let's test them. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the seminar. We're going to talk about sharpening. Sharpening. Sharpening is the foundation of woodworking. Whatever you want to do without sharp tools is just impossible. Just impossible. It's very important to understand whatever we buy, we have to tune it for ourselves. A finest chisel that you buy will not work if you don't sharpen it. Chisels, planes, most of the saws, very few tools comes ready to use. When we're talking about sharpening, there's so many different methods and so many different ways to do things. There's all these newer stuff coming out, and to be upkeep with these things.
On bench planes, I guess it's a little bit of a primer on their design and their construction and how you might use them to get the most out of the money and the time and effort that you invest in acquiring them and using them. This is a picture of a sort of a standard. I guess if someone were looking to begin to acquire bench planes, this is probably a good choice to start with. This is a number 4. I'll go into a little bit more about 4 versus 2 or whatever. And when you think of bench plane, this is what comes to mind. Now, bench planes are designed, they're intended to do 2 things, and that's to both smooth and flatten material. If a plane does one and not the other, it's not fulfilling.
This is going to be an introduction to wood turning. I'm going to talk about the lathe, I'm going to talk about safety, I'm going to talk about all the basics. And certainly at any time, if you have any questions, please stop me, because I'd rather go with what you guys are interested in than me stand here and just throw stuff out at you, okay? So let's start with the lathe itself. Like I said, we're going to get really basic. The lathe is broken down into different parts. This is called the headstock. The headstock is where the motor is. And this is the part that actually gives you the power to turn the wood. Now, for you to be able to turn a piece of wood, you have to have something to grab the wood. When you get a lathe like this, you usually get something called a spur drive. And basically all you do is you pound this into the piece of wood. It has teeth on it. And when you turn the lathe on, it turns the wood. Now, when you're using something like this, you need something on the opposite end to hold the wood in place. This is called the tailstock. This slides back and forth on the bed of the lathe. This way you could work with pieces of wood from anywhere from a couple of inches to, I believe this is 36 inches on this lathe.